thanks for having us again. It looks like GoldBod conversations never end.
Yeah.
After our conversation earlier, lots of questions had come through from our audience. So I'm glad that you've made some time to do a bit of a quick fire round with us and answer some of the outstanding questions from earlier. So this person says, why are you comparing July 2024 to July 2025? To conclude whether the NDC is actually doing something in the fight against Galamsey, compare July 2024 to February 2025.
We can make that comparison. And if you make that comparison, you will still see significant improvements in turbidity levels in many rivers and water bodies, as I demonstrated. The data is there, and I'll share with you. You can share it on your socials for this questioner to apprise himself of the facts. But what I did was sound analysis. I was comparing year on year. So I take July turbidity levels for 2024, and I compare that to turbidity levels for July 2025 to see that over a period of 1 year, because by February, the government had just been sworn in. We had not even appointed a Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. We had not started waging any fights against illegal mining. So for me, it will not paint the right picture if we try to use February figures to show what we have done. February figures will still reflect what was done by the ex-Wala NPP regime. And if you just oppose that one against July of this year, which will be our record, I'm still saying that you will see significant improvements.
Okay. To be fair, on that issue of the turbidity levels, you gave us certain areas where turbidity has improved. And I noticed that in some of those areas, it wasn't that bad to begin with. It wasn't as bad as other parts where things have got worse. So could it be that the areas that you shared with us this morning are not necessarily Galamsey hot spots?
No, they are Galamsey hot spots, because you're talking about the River and Cobra stretch in places like Dominase, in places like, Dominase, Lubo, and the rest. You're talking about River Tunnel and all that. So these are, I didn't pick the wages and the river bodies in Upper West, Upper East, and so Volta region. No, I picked river bodies in mining areas. The River Densu, another example, River Cobra, River Tunnel, and the towns I cited in Sawam and the rest, our mining areas. Yes.
All right. This one is from Kwame Obing. Kwame wants to know, if a self-aggregator has a third-party client outside Ghana, can they ship gold to him through the GoldBod?
Yes, they can ship gold to that third party through the GoldBod. But before we do that shipment, first of all, the funds for the purchase of that gold must have come from that third party through the GoldBod, and Bank of Ghana should have gotten the FX. So if you're a self-financing aggregator, you can't come to us with gold and say, ship it to a third party for me. No, we require you to, first of all, inform us of the off-taker you want to work with. And we need to work in conjunction with FIC, Financial Intelligence Center, and Bank of Ghana to conduct KYC and due diligence on this off-taker to make sure that the sources of their funds are all clean, in line with our AML and counter-terrorism financing rules. Once that is done and they are given a clean bill of health, then they can send you funds in the form of dollars to GoldBod's bank account at Bank of Ghana. And then GoldBod will then give you the CD equivalent in your bank account. And then you use the CDs to buy gold. In such cases, if you bring us the gold after purchase, we will ship it for you to the third party. But where the forest doesn't come in advance, we won't ship it for you.
Right. Gerald in Awoshi has an interesting question about the Galamsey fight. Now, from his analysis, he says that, the current government is deploying security services to fight Galamsey. You have set up a group, NIMOS, to fight Galamsey. You are doing corporate mining rather than which is supposed to be your version of previous government's community mining. what have you done that is different?
Yeah, very good
what
question.
The previous government has done?
Number one, we have stopped issuing mining licenses for mining in forest reserves. The previous government made it lawful for mining licenses to be issued to persons to engage in mining in forest reserves. We are saying no. Mining forest reserves are red zones. There should be no mining of any form at all. That is a new thing that we are doing. We have made it mandatory for all excavators imported into the country to be registered and tracked. When I say tracked, it means GPS trackers and installed in them, so that at any given time we can tell the location of these equipment and what they are being used for, and ensure that they are not being used for illegal mining. And in cases where they are being used for illegal mining, the owners who imported the equipment can be held liable. This is something new. The previous government never did that. Number three, we are going about this fight with genuine commitment. What you saw under the previous government was a charade, because their own Minister for Environment, Professor Frimpong Boateng, told us so. That while we were all told that the president had put his presidency on the line, higher ups in his presidency, in his government, in his party were actively engaged in illegal mining. And so what you saw was not a genuine commitment. In this case, nobody has been able to say that even one appointee of the Mahama NDC administration is engaging. If there is any such evidence and it is adduced to the president, sanctions will apply. So that is a new thing that is happening. Apart from that, under the previous government, they were burning excavators. We don't burn excavators. We started, and the president said, no, you can burn the chamfans, because we don't have any use for the chamfans. But for excavators, we need excavators to build roads, to dredge our water bodies that the Galamseyers have polluted. And so we need a new paradigm shift. You can burn the chamfans and other equipment, but don't burn the excavators. So we are not burning excavators. And these excavators, about 500 of them that we have seized at various police, district police offices and the rest. Again, under the previous government, when the excavators were seized, the excavators were given to MPP apparatchiefs to go and mine, because according to them, their party needed money. Party Hiesika. I'm sure you remember that tape recording that captured the conversation between their former vice central regional chairperson, Horace Eko-Ewusi, and Frimpong Boateng. And you remember how they stole, seized equipment, and how these equipment found their ways back into forest reserves and all that. Today, we can account for all equipment we have seized. You understand? And then we didn't know what happened to seize mining equipment like water pumps. And as we can tell you that we've seized 900 water pumps, and we've accounted for that, and we've handed them over to the Minister for Agriculture, and they is being used for meaningful purposes for the country. You understand? And as you can see, an aggressive campaign to prosecute persons who are arrested for illegal mining and other related offenses. So these are all new things that are happening, and I can go on and on and on and on and on. And that is why I'm saying that we are not there yet. This is not the situation we all hope for. This is not the ideal situation we want. We've not won the fight, but we've made significant strides, in terms of demonstrating genuine commitment to winning the fight and actually putting in place a coordinated effort on the part of all our security agencies to win in the fight. NAMOS is working without any political interference whatsoever. And they are dealing with all persons found culpable, no matter whose ox is God. And that is a new thing that we need to applaud the government for.
Okay. Next listener has 3 questions.
Okay.
First question is, considering how well GoldBod is doing, should we perhaps start reducing cocoa production and increase gold production?
No, not at all. Because number one, gold is a finite mineral resource. It means that no matter the high volumes of gold reserves we are endowed with as a country, that gold will run out one day. But the land will never run out. And land is all you need to cultivate cocoa. So we need to do that. And you see, mining is a destructive process, whether legal or illegal. So there is always an environmental cost to mining. even when it is legal mining. Even with large-scale mining, there is still an environmental cost. But with cocoa, environmental cost is relatively mitigated. And so gold is helping, but we need to take advantage of the respite that has given us to build the real sector. Okay, so not just cocoa, but food, the things we eat, the things we consume, we must use this respite we have to produce more, add value, consume, and also export to bring in more forest, because one day we will not have gold.
Right. His second question, he wants to know what effect will a declaration of state of emergency have on GoldBod's supply of gold?
Well, if a state of emergency is declared, it will depend on the nature of that state of emergency, because you can declare a state of emergency and say no mining in forest reserves or no mining along water bodies. Okay.
He says in Galamsey areas.
What does he mean by Galamsey areas? Galamsey areas are mining areas. So are you going to declare state of emergency in all mining areas? And it means no mining, no production, no gold. It means we will not be getting FX inflows of $6 billion. You know that the import bill for this year, January to August alone, is about $7 billion. So imagine that gold had not given us 11.2 billion. No, the import bill alone is around 11 billion. So imagine gold had not given us 11.2 billion. What would have happened to us? So that is not the right approach. But that is not even the reason why we don't support state of emergency. We don't support it, number one, because even in opposition, we never made that call. I've listened to the conversation. I was national, and I'm still National Communications Officer of the NDC. I never made that call. There are certain individuals who can bind a political party in terms of collective position. The leader of the party, that is a flag bearer, the national chairman, the general secretary, the National Communications Officer. None of us made that call. The party in parliament never made that call. So if you cite some examples of individual NDC members who might have supported a certain call, it doesn't mean that they were speaking for the collective or corporate body called NDC. That's number one. Number two, we don't need a state of emergency because we've had something better than a state of emergency in the past, and yet we couldn't deal with Galamsey. It worsened. What was that? Between 2017 and 2018, President Akufo-Addo banned small-scale mining. It was not state of emergency on Galamsey. This was small-scale mining, whether legal or illegal, banned in totality. Banned. Zero tolerance for small-scale mining, whether legal or illegal. What happened? In 2018, Ghana exported more small-scale gold than in 2016, 2015, 2014, put together when there was no ban. So the ban never worked. What worked, what happened, was that those responsible for the ban took advantage of the ban and rather took over the Galamsey business of Galamseyers, and they themselves were doing it. So you cannot do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. We've tried a more draconian measure, which was a total ban, and it never worked. Those were the days of Operation Vanguard and Galamstop. Those were the days of shoot to kill Galamseyers. And indeed, many Galamseyers were killed. Many excavators were burned. It worsened the problem. Number three, you don't need state of emergency. What is state of emergency? I think that should be the starting point. Because people just say state of emergency. What is the understanding of state of emergency? State of emergency means that when a particular situation has gotten out of the control of governments, and the ordinary powers government has to exercise in ordinary times will not be sufficient or adequate to maintain law and order, then you declare a state of emergency so that the president will have extraordinary powers to maintain law and order.
And is that not where we are now with Galamsey?
The ordinary powers that we have to be able to go out there, arrest illegal miners, seize equipment, destroy the ones that we don't need, prosecute the perpetrators, track mining equipment, make forest reserves a no-go area for any form of mining and all that. That power is enough to deal with the menace, and that is what we are doing.
But the problem persists. In some cases, it gets even worse.
We have not eradicated armed robbery. Despite the fact that we have the powers to deal with armed robbery. It's no justification to declare state of emergency. Nobody can eliminate crime. You understand? So the fact that there is still incidents
got out of hand, like Galamsey has got out of hand.
You see, the fact that there is still incidents of a wrong is no justification for a state of emergency. I'm saying that the powers we have as a government, the powers the president has, the ministers have, the police have, the law enforcement and security agencies have, are adequate and sufficient. They are enough for dealing with the menace of Galamsey. Right. So far, we've not had a situation where, say, for an area, armed thugs have taken over and they are doing illegal mining, and state security agencies are overwhelmed. They can't deal with them. So then you need a state of emergency so that they can exercise certain extraordinary powers. No. Wherever they are, once you deploy state security agencies, they are able to use the powers they have in normal times to contain the situation. Right. So you don't need any extraordinary powers.
Okay.
In any case, look, there are over 13 mining regions in Ghana. There are thousands of mining communities in Ghana. You declare state of emergency, how will you enforce it? How many police officers do you have? How many soldiers do you have? Where? Are you going to put the entire security of Ghana on hold and deploy all your policemen to all that over 1,000 mining communities in Ghana to make sure nobody mines? Akufo-Addo did it, 2017, 2018. It didn't work. So what we need is a political will, and President Mahama has it. Honorable Amakofi has it. What we need is the commitment to the fight, and that is what you've seen NAMOS do. What we need are the strategies and the innovations that will help, and that is why we are registering and tracking equipment. That is why we are saying no mining in forest reserves. That is why we are saying for the first time the police must be allowed to lead the fight against illegal mining. That is why we say this time around, when you are caught, nobody can interfere. We will prosecute you. That is why all these things are happening. You understand? And I tell you, we're given a 4-year mandate. We've not even done 1 year. So let's exercise patience. Let's take stock and acknowledge that something positive is happening. There was no fight. I told you this morning, there was no fight when we assumed the reins of power. No fight. What was happening was a fight against Galamsey fighters. Now we can talk about a fight against Galamsey. That in itself is an improvement. Let's acknowledge that. And let's criticize where we need to so that we can keep government on its toes to do what is necessary for us to win the fight. And I tell you, we win the fight. And lastly on this, let me tell you something. John Mahama inherited a doomsday situation. He took responsibility. I'm not talking about 2016, 2015. I'm talking about 2025. Because the country that was handed over to us was a country that was faced with doomsday. So much so that citizens were lamenting and demanding for a doomsday timetable. And we had an energy minister who told us that we should publish our own timetables. I'm sure you remember your good friend, Matthew Poku Prempe. Now, President Mahama didn't make any excuses. Initially, we had some doomsday challenges when we took office. Today, do you hear anybody lamenting about doomsday? He said he will fix it. He has fixed it. When we took office, the economy was in shambles. Everybody was complaining about high cost of living. Everybody was complaining about hardships. Do we hear the same level of lamentations? No, because the economy has been fixed. You understand? We are seeing macroeconomic stability like we have never seen in many, many years. So when this same President Mahama, the country we handed over to him, was being governed by a bunch of people who prioritize profligacy and wastage over everything else. He said it will not happen under him. And under him, you've seen modesty, not profligacy. So if this President Mahama tells you that I will deal with Galamsey, I'm saying you have a reason to believe him, because when he promises, he delivers.
I have to chip this in just because you brought it up about the economy and the work that the government has done to improve it. Because you know that since the Meet the Press, the accusation that your opponents have leveled against you is that this government has fixed the economy by repurposing Galamsey through the gold?
Oh, really? Like if it was that easy to use Galamsey to fix the economy, then the economy between 2017 and 2024 should have been the best economy in Ghana's history.
Well, there was no
because
GoldBod.
that was when Galamsey was booming like never before.
But there was no gold.
Then we should have all been picking cash on the ground, because Galamsey had become free for all for everybody. Party executives were doing it, presidential staffers were doing it, ministers of state were doing it. Frimpong Boateng says so. You understand? He's my witness. So if Galamsey is the panacea to our economic woes as a country, then the MPP should have delivered the best economic outcomes in history. That is not the case. GoldBod is not about Galamsey. People must understand that GoldBod buys large-scale gold. And so far, we bought over 120 kilograms of large-scale gold, which has gone directly into our gold reserves at the Bank of England. GoldBod buys licensed small-scale mining gold. I will share with you the terms and conditions of the licenses we give gold buyers. You must buy gold from licensed, and there are over 1,000 licensed miners in Ghana actively producing. And that is the gold we are mopping up. So what they are saying is neither here nor there.
Okay. Now, let me ask his third question and then we move on. I'll be interested to see how you answer this one. Okay. He says, in one sentence, and that's the caveat, one sentence, how can we save our natural vegetation and water bodies?
In one sentence, how can we save our water bodies? That's a very difficult one, because that's a very complex problem that the solution to that, I'm not sure, can be captured in one sentence. But all I will say is we need patriotism, we need innovation, and we need the political will and commitment to fight the illegal mining menace. That's what we need. But the commitment is not enough. It must be backed by action. And above all, there must also be innovation, because we cannot do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And so that is why I'm happy that programs like cooperative mining that has been launched by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, taking shape and all that. And the GoldBod will be supporting that, because once these young people can engage in meaningful and responsible mining schemes, a lot of them will be discouraged. Not all, because there will still be deviance in every society. But I believe that some of them will change their ways and engage in such responsible mining practices, other than the responsible mining practices they are engaging.
Well, you got your answer, but in a little more than one sentence.
Yes.
Consider it a bonus. Yeah. All right. This person says, I'm an insurance professional. How can government be sure that an aggregator who has been advanced funds to purchase gold will actually go ahead and do that? What safeguards has the GoldBod got in place to ensure performance of their licensed aggregators?
There are such safeguards. We require our aggregators to post a guarantee bond. We call it an advance payment guarantee from a reputable insurance or financial institution that secures whatever advance financing we provide him, so that if he doesn't supply us the gold and he doesn't give us our money, the financial institution, be it a bank or insurance company that insured that facility for him, will be called upon to pay.
That's what he's worried about.
So we have that advance payment guarantee in place. So if he's worried about whether or not we have such safeguards, we have it. And if he goes to our website, he's going to even see the template of our advance payment guarantee and a counter indemnity. Yes.
So he's worried about the aggregator who come take the advance payment and abscond, expecting
and I'm saying
his insurance company to pay.
No, but the insurance company will demand of you a counter indemnity, which is that when you default, we will pay, but we will come after you.
Right.
We'll come after shareholders and directors.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. This one says, my question to Sammy Gyamfi is, one, can a state of emergency be declared forgive me, can a state of emergency be declared only on machines such as excavators in illegal mining
That is not.
areas?
That is why I said a lot of people have misconceptions about state of emergency. How do you declare state of emergency on machines? what would that mean? What would that mean? State of emergency on machines. What animal is that?
So,
There's nothing like that.
So machine owners will have their rights suspended so that government can take extraordinary measures to control the use of their machines.
But what about if the same machines that are used for mining are used for road construction? They are used for many other things. So how can government do that?
So maybe in illegal mining.
The solution is not that. The solution is that track the machines.
Right.
And if you track the machines, then you have a control room like Minerals Commission has, where you can monitor the location of all those machines. If the machines are being used for illegal mining, you will know. And now there are even sophisticated systems that you can even turn off the machines remotely. And the engines will break down and they can't work. Yeah. So those are some of the things. That's what I mean by innovation. Those are some of the things that we need to be discussing.
There's your answer, Al Hassan. Okay, this one, someone says, please play all Sammy Gyamfi's videos back to him on what he said while he was in opposition about Galamsey, particularly his River Pra press conference. I have an interesting addendum to that question, if you will. Because today you shared with us some NTU levels in areas that where there have been improvements, according to Water Resources Commission. And you're going to share that with us so that we can share with the audience. What about where you did the press conference? That spot on the where you did the press conference?
I think I have to check. Because the list I got was a long one, but I will not be surprised because, as I told you, I didn't tell you that turbidity levels have improved generally. I was honest enough to concede that in many places, turbidity levels have worsened. And I also told you that in many places, turbidity levels have improved. What was I communicating? I was trying to tell you that all hope is not lost. It's not like we are not seeing any results. We are seeing some results, but we are not there yet. And so we need to do more. That's all I'm communicating.
I get that. So if the government should be given the credit for the areas where the turbidity levels have improved, then the government should also be blamed for the areas where the turbidity levels have, in some cases, doubled.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So that is especially where we can say that the turbidity levels are tied to illegal mining activities.
Well, they are,
because I've had that is what I would say as an ordinary person, but I've had some technical people express some technical opinion that I'm yet to look into after my show with you this morning, because they were telling me that since most of these water bodies take their source from the forest reserves, if for 8 years, or say 2-3 years, there's been intense degradation of the water source, it will take time before turbidity levels, improve in the areas that we see and all that.
That's if there's no rain.
These are some of the messages I got myself whilst I was on the show, but I'm not. I don't have the academic or the technical expertise to be able to decipher that. We all have to look into that. But you're absolutely right. Where turbidity levels have increased as a result of increased illegal mining activities, government must take the flak for that. But where turbidity levels have improved, let's also acknowledge that and commend government for that. And then encourage government to do more, because it is not enough. We want to see turbidity levels improve across board. But like I said, you can't achieve that ideal situation, holistically in 8 months. This is a government that has a 4-year tenure, and let's appreciate the progress of this fight within that context that it has 4 years.
All right. We're nearly there. All right. This person wants to know whether or not the money that you mentioned when you talk about how much gold we've exported, is this money that we are holding?
Yes, I get that thing a lot. Anytime. So there are a lot of people who come to worry me because they think the GoldBod is so rich. Anytime they hear that we've exported $6 billion. They think that the $6 billion is sitting somewhere. And I've even had members of parliament make such arguments that, a GoldBod was giving so little in the budget $279 million. Where did you get money from to buy $6 billion? Let's educate, let's throw light on that so that people can understand. Our gold trade is a revolving business. So you can give me 10,000 cedis to buy gold. Okay? But in a matter of a year, I can buy gold worth 1 billion with that 10,000. Why? Because every 3 days, I will buy gold worth 10,000, go and sell it, bring the money again, convert it into cedis, buy gold again, go and sell it, get dollars, convert it into cedis, buy gold again. So it's a revolving trade. So cumulatively, you can buy 1 billion of gold over a certain period with just 10,000 cedis as a seed, capital. That's what we mean by that. It doesn't mean that we have been giving 6 billion and we bought 6 billion. No, right. It's a revolving trade. And two, the money that we used to buy, now we are not even drawing down on the budgeted funds we're giving as seed trading capital. We take our trade capital largely from Bank of Ghana. So what does Bank of Ghana do? There are people who need dollars in Ghana. These are banks. These are BDCs who import oil and other importers, other businesses who need dollars or FX to do business. Okay. Now, if their banks are unable to meet their needs, their dollar demands, then the banks put all their requests together, because these are valid requests. Then they send them to Bank of Ghana. So Bank of Ghana does something we call FX forward auction. So Bank of Ghana says, if you need FX dollars, come to me, make your request, support it with the needed documentation for me to know that these are all legitimate imports or payments that you want to make. And once I clear that, I will fix a rate for you. I'll give you 7 days. I'll take your cedis, and in 7 days, I'll give you the dollar at a certain agreed fixed rate. That is what the auction means. So when Bank of Ghana takes those cedis, the Bank of Ghana comes to give the cedis to GoldBod. That cedis plus other cedis the Bank of Ghana will have is given to GoldBod. And GoldBod, within a T+3 cycle, use the cedis to buy gold, expose the gold, and then we get paid dollars. And then the Bank of Ghana gives us cedis again to go and buy gold. You understand? So the chunk of the dollars that come goes to meet market demand. And at some point, we're facing market demand of $50 million a day. So sometimes, even when you bring $200 million a week, it's not enough. You have to be doing $250 million or above. Thankfully, the price of gold has gone up and volumes have also gone up. And so now, Bank of Ghana is better placed to manage the pressure. I think not too long ago, they announced that they've cleared all the demands from the banks that were in the pipeline. And that is good. And we are happy that we are able to assist the Bank of Ghana in that endeavor. That is what we established to do. If we look at our objects, basically to support gold reserve and foreign exchange reserve accumulation by the Bank of Ghana, those are the primary objects of the GoldBod, and that is exactly what we are doing.
Well, that does it for the questions that came in from our listeners. Thank you very much for that. Before you leave us, though, I have one question. I'm asking it because you are, as you reminded us, still the communications officer for the NDC.
Until maybe September.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't know when a new elections will be held and my replacement found.
Until then, it's you.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping you're comfortable to answer this question.
Absolutely.
The chairman of your party just went on a thank you tour. Another thank you tour after the president himself did one in July.
Yeah.
What's that about? Did the party fund him to go on this tour?
Did the party fund him? I've not spoken to him. I've not spoken to the general secretary, so I wouldn't know. But I'll be surprised if the party is financing it, because that is not usually not the practice. The usual practice is that national officers have to raise funds on their own to finance their activities. It is only few activities that the party, when it is able to, support. So I cannot tell where the funding for that is coming from unless I talk to chairman. But the national chairman, I know, I will not be surprised if he's financing this largely by himself. I will not be surprised. Yeah.
This is unusual, though, isn't it?
What is unusual?
For the chairman of the party to also go on a thank you tour after the president himself.
It's the party. I wouldn't say the chairman is going on a thank you tour.
So it's the whole party.
Of course, because he's not going in his personal capacity. He's going as chairman of the party,
But
right?
You're
and the party is behind him.
Okay.
No, because I've been given another assignment, and so I'm sure leadership appreciates.
So
why
he
some
went
of
with,
us cannot.
with
of course,
other
the
party
national chairman
executives.
doesn't move alone. It's one party. We have a leader, John Mahama, but he has a government to run, and it's not everything that he can do. There are many places that the president would have loved to go to thank, people. So the party must provide that auxiliary or complementary role. I don't think this is a big deal. I don't see the fuss about this at all.
Thank you tour. The president did.
I don't see it as another thank you tour.
The president went in July, though, didn't he?
Yeah, the president has done what he could do as leader of the party.
He went to every region.
Yes, exactly. He did it in regional capitals. Nothing stops the party machinery to also say, our leader, the boss, was able to cover regional capitals. Can we also cover constituencies and other things? There's nothing wrong with that.
So you don't agree with those in your own party who say that this is just...
I've not heard anybody in my party say that, but they are entitled to the opinions. Thanks for having me, Kojo.
Thank you very much for your time.
Right,
Much
sure.
appreciated.
Okay.
All right.